Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I'm speaking with Nancy Moore. She has just released a fantastic new record. It is called Tumbled, and I'm very excited to talk to her all about it. Nancy, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this. How are you doing today? What's going on?
Doing well, having a music day. It's all good.
Perfect. No better day to have. Where are you located on the East Coast?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I've been
Nice.
here for more than 15 years now, so I call it home.
Very, how do you like it? I've never been before.
Charlotte is really cool. There's a wonderful live music scene here in Charlotte. A lot of songwriters here, very supportive, and different from Nashville. I haven't been there yet. We'll talk about that, which is my
Okay.
song.
Sure, sure.
It's got a different feel, but it's kind of like a mini Austin or mini Nashville feel here for songwriters. So there's a very good vibe and a lot of venues to play out in if you want to play your own stuff, as
That's
well as covers.
amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? I like that though, because those cities are already established. It's time for more cities to start popping up on the map, and you're contributing to it. So I love it. That's what it's all about. Um, as I mentioned, you've got this new record out, and it is wonderful. Truly, like such a unique blend of Americana and rock and a little bit of country thrown in, but at the same time, like you've kept things sounding quite original and you're adding to it instead of reinventing the wheel, which is such a beautiful thing. Um, the first thing that I really want to know about here is like, what are these songs about? Is it a series of isolated stories, or is there one big message that you're trying to put through on this record?
That is a great question. When I talked to my producer about this EP, it was my debut EP,
Hmm.
and he said, "Do you want me to?" We did one song, and he said, "Do you want me to keep that kind of production character for the rest of your songs?" And I said, "No. Let the songs determine how we treat them. Let the sound and the feeling in the song that's coming across." Let that determine how the record gets produced. And so they are individual songs. But the roots of my music are the same no matter what I write. So you're always going to hear a strain of rock. You're going to hear going if you love rock music, you've got to go back to the blues, and you've got to go back to Delta blues specifically as
Exactly.
American root music, and that's just in the blood. So I didn't grow up in the South, but I remember the first time I heard Delta blues. I wondered who Dr. Watson was.
Sure.
So, but yeah, that's kind of where it all began, and then through rock, and so each of my songs is going to have those influences of the Moody Blues, and going back to Buffalo Springfield and the band, and
Mhm.
the Beatles and
Yeah,
Joni Mitchell, and the greats,
of
Crosby,
course.
Stills, Nash and Young. You're never. I'm never gonna not have that in my bouillabaisse.
No, of course not. It's like, listen, there how many records get released every day? You know, you've lived your life, you have your own personal influences and inspirations. And sure, you're always going to pull from them, but at the same time, like you're creating something new. And that's kind of what I like about this the most is that it's really not just one thing. There's so much coming through on every song, yet it still sounds original, which in today's music landscape is becoming increasingly difficult to do. So massive congrats to you on that end. But it sounds like you've worked with a producer and other people on this record. Like, who else helped out and who can be attributed to, bringing this thing to life?
Well, this was produced by Brian Shoemate, who's been a musician and in bands, and is a tremendous talent, tremendous arranger. He has his own records out, and he's been doing that a long time.
Hmm.
And the musicians that came together on this, whether it was David Harper on keyboards, they're in a great band. David's in a band called Coconut Groove that people here love, and I was very fortunate on Feeling Nashville to have not only the drummer who was on all the songs, but also to get more. Well, Russell Wilson is my drummer, but on Nashville, I was very fortunate to have Tim Galloway play on
Okay.
that acoustic guitar, as well as mandolin and banjo. And Tim, of course, this year we recorded that song in November of 2022. And in this year, Tim was nominated for a country music award. So he's a
That's
great,
huge.
yes, he's a great, great musician and a great person.
You know what?
Someone
That's
that,
just as important.
yeah, he's
It
someone
really
people
is.
want to work with, you know?
Oh, I fully understand.
Yeah, so Russell Wilson is a North Carolina guy here. Scotty Saunders in Nashville played on the record, not on Feeling Nashville, that cut, but he played on another song called The Cone. So there were some really wonderful people. And of course, Brian played as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
About how long did it take you to put this together from start to finish? Sounds like it's been in the works for a while.
I started with one song. I had never recorded a song, and
Okay.
some songwriters that I know were putting together like a compilation release. Hey guys, if you want to produce, have a song on it, you've got to,
Yeah.
get the file. And I had just started playing again 5 years ago, and just started writing again 3 years ago. Kind of
Okay.
an interesting story. And I said, yeah, I want to do that. And I did not know the experience, and through friends hearing me play out, I perform out like my stuff a lot. Someone suggested how to get started with this, so I did a song called "With You Now." As I was working on that song, the mixing engineer Eddie Snuggs, who also played bass on one of the songs,
Hmm.
said, "Hey, what else have you got? What else can we do?" And that's how this EP. And I said, "Well, I've got 5 more songs, so let's do 6." And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's how it happened. And it's all, I think, the music, it's the real instrumentation. It's, it's when you play something on a real instrument, there's a
Sure.
vibe.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And from that,
It can't be replicated no matter what program you use or production software. Like that's I mean, I'm just gonna sit here and inflate your ego, which I hope you're okay with, but it really it really truly is a record that like it feels so lively and it feels inspired and passionate, and it's like, don't get me wrong, there's a ton of music out there that's being made that, obviously uses little samples and stuff like that, but you can tell just like the pure love that went into it, that is just it's really hard to replace that. And I think you've kind of hit the mark fully.
well, there's nothing wrong with digital sound. Like
Yeah, of
it's got its own genres, and it's got its own uses and
course.
everything. But I think you have to be true to who you are inside as a
Of
writer,
course.
as a performer. If you're trying to put across something that isn't authentic, in this case, I just have this music coming, and people like the song. So those are the reasons to keep going, and all of that. But yeah, someday I may do, a completely different ethereal sound, but right now I'm in this.
Yeah, totally. No, I'm actually really happy you brought that up. Obviously you've been working on this for so long, and I know how long it takes to put together an album from start to finish. Are there any songs or things that didn't make it that you have living as demos that could potentially be on future projects?
Well, I'm about to go back in the studio in just a
Oh,
couple of weeks to begin my next set of songs. And in
nice.
2024, I'll be releasing a 12 song album.
Oh.
It'll have the 6 from Tumbled,
Mhm.
and it'll have 6 more. So I've been writing, and I'm getting ready to go back in and start recording 6 more songs.
Very cool. Can we, I mean, you don't need to say too much, but can we expect a little bit of experimentation? Maybe, a little bit of a left turn.
We can potentially.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. All
Especially in
right.
the groove. Yeah.
All I need to know.
Especially in the grooves.
Awesome.
Yeah.
In terms of actually putting these songs together, I guess, the songwriting, the actual composition of the songs itself, do you find that there's one part of it that's become the most difficult for you, or maybe even something that is just a streamlined process?
Well, I tend to write chord progressions first, and
Oh,
from that, I don't deliberately write them at all. I sit down and I get an idea, and I go through the feel of the sound. From
okay.
the feel of the sound, I might have written down some ideas
Nice.
for a song idea, and then I work through, the crafting of the song, because I think it was Barry Gibb who said, a song is not just something you hear, it's something you see. And so
Correct.
it's a journey. And I know when I was 16 or 15 or 16, I used to write poems and I could start it, but I didn't know how to finish the story of a song
Sure.
because I didn't know what happened in life. I didn't know what
Yes.
chapter, what's act two, what's act three, how does this
Hmm.
end? And so that part, I feel like has been more developed. And I generally have a lot of ideas going on, but something will grab me and say, yeah, this now.
This
Work
one.
on this. Yeah.
I love that. Have you gotten the opportunity to play any of these songs in a live setting yet?
I do. I've been
Okay.
I've been fortunate to be invited to be featured in songwriter showcases here in Charlotte
Amazing.
and to play them out. It's a great way to figure out if the song is hitting where it needs to hit, to see how
Yes.
it performs. Um, yeah, I've done that. I've been featured as a featured artist in
Cool.
some of the, what we'll do here in Charlotte is, and it's probably similar to other places, there's an open mic portion of the night, but then there's a featured artist. And
Hmm.
if you do enough open mics, you might be invited to be the feature.
Exactly.
And
Th-
then you're doing a songwriter showcase. So I've been
right.
very fortunate to be playing my own. And it's fun when it's a songwriter showcase because you're just unapologetic. Like, yeah, this is my stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Right. Totally. Are you playing by yourself? Are you playing with a band?
right now, my performances have primarily been me playing these songs on an acoustic guitar
Okay. Cool.
and just like, obviously hooked up.
Yeah.
Um, I do jam with other folks at some of these events. We'll just get up and play each other's songs sometimes. So
Hmm.
that's kind of fun. And I am beginning to work with a group when things are just starting in that band idea. So we'll see. Yeah.
Amazing. Is there a song or a handful of songs that you most look forward to playing during your set?
Well, I've played out a couple of songs people are starting to get to know in the songwriter circle and their
Sure.
friends and stuff. And I generally get requests to play two songs right now. One is Feeling Nashville, which is a fun song about just wanting to go someplace you've never gone and not, during COVID, I wrote that song and I realized, look, not everybody gets to travel. Um,
No.
when you travel a lot, you get exhausted or whatever. You can say, "Oh, I'm so glad to get home," but
Yeah.
for a lot of people, it's a dream, and that
Exactly.
song is about that longing to go somewhere that's famous and you've heard things about, and to be part of that. And then the other song I get asked to play is "Where Can Delaney Be," which is a song about missing women,
Okay.
and it wasn't written as a cause song; it was just written but it's a song about one particular girl and what happened in her life. So that song is a hard rocker. It's a progressive rock song.
Nice.
And I wrote it that way because when I initially got the inspiration for this song, it was emotional writing it.
Hmm.
And I thought, if I sing this as a ballad, oh my God, I'll never get through it. I'll be, I'll be
Absolutely.
a blubbering mess. So I
Right.
thought, make it a rocker.
No, and
Rock
I
and
agree.
roll.
Sometimes the audience needs to be brought up a bit. And I think that's kind of a really important part of a live set is it can't all just be one mood. You kind of need to take them on a journey or an adventure where you bring them to the highs and you bring them to the lows and they feel all the emotions.
That's right.
And
That's
it kind of feels
exactly
like
right.
yeah, it kind of feels like that's what you're doing, which is so important. And it's not thought about enough when crafting a set list, but it needs to be there.
You hit the nail on the head there. Absolutely. You've got to vary it. You can't
Absolutely.
always be like, you can't always say, here's another sad song. Oh, wow. I'm
Strap
so
in,
glad I came
guys.
out tonight. I'm so glad we're
Exactly.
spending money on drinks so we can get depressed, No.
Exactly. Yes, I couldn't have said it better myself. On the other hand, is there an unreleased song that you're most looking forward to playing or just, getting out there into the world?
There is, it's not recorded yet. So yeah,
Okay.
there's a song I've got a good feeling about and I'm very excited. I
Very
can't wait to
cool.
talk with you about that sometime
Nice.
next year.
I'm excited for you. Listen, there's
Yeah.
nothing more exciting than Because songwriting can be a very insular experience where it's just like you don't know how it's going to translate, but once it finally comes to life, and yeah, you
Yeah,
got to get the audience reaction. It's very important. Um,
so true.
yeah. Well, we have just begun October. I cannot believe this year is, sort of coming to an end already. It's unbelievable. There are 2 months left in this year, and you've done a pretty good job of sort of highlighting what else is on the horizon. What are some, I guess, short-term goals in the next 6 months that you'd like to hit? What do you foresee happening? What would you like to happen?
Well, for the next 6 months, I'm going into that period of recording music. So it's going to
Sure.
be intensely focused and just letting myself go into that space, not
Mhm.
worry about anything else.
Yeah.
Um, I'm excited about that. And also for me, because I perform out myself, okay, what do you want this to be? What does this all look like? My motivation has always been pretty much the same since I started writing. I want as many people as possible to be able to hear my music and
Right.
enjoy it. That's all.
That's the goal.
And that's the goal.
Yeah.
And so for the next 6 months, I'm going to be looking toward having 12 singles released out. And,
Nice.
that's sort of where it's at now. And beyond that, I'm not like,
No,
I,
that's okay though.
yeah,
That's another difficult part of being an independent artist. It's like you can really only plan so much because you don't know what's going to happen. You can have a rough timeline, and I think that's one of the most important things.
yeah,
But at the same time, you don't want to work yourself into the ground so much to where it's not fun anymore because you're making music and that should be fun. That's what it's all about right there. Um,
yeah. Well, I did a lot of things before this. And so I
sure,
do appreciate this. This is like, I am so blessed and appreciative of it, and the people that I get
absolutely.
to work with, the other musicians are wow. Just it's a wow.
Yeah, it's all a wow. Uh, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I have a couple more for you. Are there any records or even specific songs that you heard this year that you thought directly influenced your music? Could be a song from an older artist that you discovered, or even someone modern day where you discovered and just really enjoyed their sound.
Well, I've been a fan of Tom Petty, Sheryl Crow.
Sure.
I have never covered Cheryl, but I have covered several Tom Petty songs. I recently heard a Chris Stapleton song that I just fell in love
He's
with called
great.
Starting Over. And the groove on that song is really, really good. And so that's been, but I've been listening recently to Vertical Horizon,
Okay.
Dawes. I've been listening to gosh, wow, this band called the Heavy Heavy, which
Okay.
is out of England, I believe.
Nice.
Um, listened, wish we had more from Owsley. We will not, though, sadly. But he was a brilliant um, songwriter and performer. So that's really good. And I just recently, I think yesterday, heard the new one from the Stones and Lady Gaga, something
Oh
about
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bouncing heaven or yeah. Yeah, so I heard that. Like that made
Still
me,
doing it. Still doing it. Good for them.
yeah, come on, yeah.
Yes, can't stop creativity. Doesn't matter how old
I
we
expect
get.
nothing less.
Exactly. I feel the same. I feel the same. Nancy, my last question for you here is it's basically for the person that is going to discover you from this conversation. What is an opening message that you'd like to say to them before they listen to your music for the first time?
Wow. This is for you. Enjoy it. It was made with love. It's there to be enjoyed. Rock on.
That's as sincere as it gets right there, and that's every reason to give it a spin. Nancy, I want to thank you so much, but please let me or give me the opportunity to plug your music one more time before we wrap up here. If you guys missed it the first time around, the record is called Tumbled. This is Nancy Moore. There it is. And of course, we will have the links in our articles so that you can listen and share and follow along. And obviously, stay tuned for more because it sounds like there's so much more in the works right now, releasing in the next 6 months. So I say follow along and pay attention. I'm excited because I truly, sincerely, really enjoyed this record, and I'm excited for everyone out there to give it a listen. I think they're really going to enjoy it. It's just got so much to offer.
Thank you so much. That is
You
wonderful.
you are so welcome. I want to thank you so much again. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope to speak soon.
Peace out.
Awesome. Take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.